Hello there, welcome back to another episode of World of Tanks with Gaiety Titan, and those of you who have been long-term followers of my channel certainly have been watching videos 2 years ago, 2018, when I was on the A43, A44, Object 416, will realise that I really did not like those tanks, and I actually have very few videos on them because I struggled to get good games in them. I would say, I don't know, I was definitely struggled to find any kind of decent game in those tanks. I don't really have the patience. Well, I suppose I do, but I'd never really trained myself to actually really make use of those tanks. There are people who seem to be able to use these kind of tanks aggressively, quite successfully in the game. I'm not one of them. I find that I tend to take them into places where they're not working, they don't suit. My instincts are with medium tanks to kind of prowl the flanks and just kind of snipe, maybe try and pick out lone enemy tanks. And the problem with these is that to do that from cover is actually quite difficult. It's very challenging because you have very limited gun depression and you have very limited gun elevation. The tanks are really low profile. They're well armoured-ish for Soviet medium tanks. I mean, it's 100mm front armour, extremely well sloped. The turret armour is actually quite good. Although it's strong as the front, it's kind of weak at the cheeks and the side. But people who there are people who are very effective at destroying these tanks. They seem to know the weaknesses of them. They were extremely popular at one point. I find also that at high tier games, when you're a tier 8 in a tier 9 or a tier 10 battle, it doesn't matter about the frontal armour or the turret in many cases. There's guns that just punch through it like it's not there anyway. And the problem is that you often get shot while you're trying to bring your gun to bear. You're tempted to make shots and expose the tank, and the thing is, you've got this big engine out in front of you which catches fire quite easily, because what happens is the first shot comes in, destroys your your fuel tanks, and then the next shot damages your engine, and the third shot sets the tank on fire, or kills you outright, because again, if you're facing tier 9 and tier 10 guns, 1350 hit points is not a lot at all. It's basically 3 to 4. I mean, 3 shots of a tier 10 heavy tank will just kill it outright. So you come around a corner where there are 3 tier 10 heavy tanks and you're dead, or 2 just tank destroyers. I mean, there are tank destroyers out there who remove 1,000, 750, 1,000 hit points, no problem. So what I find is I generally have to change my playstyle for these kind of tanks, and I suppose I was just not good at changing my playstyle. Flexibility is not one of my strong points, and relearning and changing what I do is actually one of those things that I'm not good at. Better at it than I used to be, so I've done better with this tank than I did 2 years ago with the Tech Tree similar style tanks. But a lot of it is a question of finding places on the map where you can be effective in the early game without taking damage, without getting killed. So then you can use your hit point pool and the devastating alpha of the tank later on in the game, or where you're isolated, where you have a chance of an enemy being isolated. Now, this Black Prince would have been a lot easier if the artillery wasn't so much focused on me. I've actually managed to take a massive hit from artillery just now, and I'm about to take another one because there it is. It's the Lorraine 155, not the artillery that's been spotted. The Black Prince itself was actually doing remarkably little damage. I thought the Black Prince would have done more damage, and I was actually lucky enough that the Black Prince driver wasn't that good with his gun, because with the combination of the artillery and the Black Prince, kind of lucky to survive the encounter. However, if you keep the tank alive and you survive the encounters, the gun is very devastating. The other problem I find with this tank is the view range is actually not great. And that's another problem with this whole class of tanks. Because they're low profile tanks, the view range actually suffers for the same reason. They're just not very tall tanks, and they tend to not have the view range that you'd expect out of a medium tank at this tier. So it takes a considerable amount of crew skills to compensate for this. You also need, I think, like I said, the engine catches fire quite a lot because the engine's out in front. You gotta watch the way you approach corners, because ideally you'll have a lot of engine potentially showing before any gun appears, and sometimes you have to be very careful about that, or you don't want it to happen. Or ideally you want the tanks to be looking somewhere else when you come around a corner to shoot somebody, or you might be better off maybe reversing out around the corner. Okay, you're going to be taking side shots into the weak armor, but I find the armor doesn't hold up all that well anyway. We're in a tier 8 battle here, and it's not too bad at tier 8, but against tier 9 and tier 10 tanks, my own experience is I have found the armor doesn't really matter at that stage. You just, if you're going to be shot, you'll get penetrated, you'll take the hits. So you have to be a bit more circumspect with the tank, and you got to make sure your gun can come to bear. Again, you're a low profile tank. If you're in with a mob of tanks, a lot of the times the tanks will come your way. You can't shoot over people, unlike say in an American tank where you generally can. This sort of stuff as well. You come onto a piece of ground and just the ground is stopping you from getting the gun depression down because you're just pointing upwards a small bit. So if you're used to playing British or American or French tall or medium tanks, with these tanks you come to the kind of terrain where you could take a shot with a Pershing or a Comet or a Patton. You can't with these ones because again you're just exposed too much to the tank, and you'll be exposed for too long in order to bring the gun to bear on the enemy tank. However, as you can see from this game, when you can actually keep the gun going, you can get quite a lot of damage done with 3,500 damage done from, what was it, 11 ribbons. Actually, you see 3,790. We've actually did more, so we must have blind fired at least one target. So that's, yeah. We got a first class mastery out of it in the high caliber, and we came number 1 by experience, by experience, and by damage, obviously, because we got the high caliber. As a style of tank, I still don't like them, but obviously you can make them work if you put the effort in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, comment, share. It really helps the channel out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.